I am the Son of Man. I am the Son of God. I am becoming a God. I am going to speak the words from the heart. It is the most important thing in the world. Bill Gates was #1 on Imgur today. All the comments are talking about how he is a guy like Jesus. We are all connected. We're magical beings. We have psychic power. The word government means control mind. The purpose of the government is to corrupt us from birth with the concept of money, tricking people into not realizing their spiritual power, keeping them all as children, petty and hypnotized. Thou shalt not covet. This is the truth. It doesn't make sense until you have it. It is utterly incomprehensible, because your brain is not functioning as it should. When you have it, you know it. You can feel it and see it everywhere, plain as day. When you truly don't want anything, when your heart opens, you can see it. The dollar is a magic talisman, the eye on the pyramid. In God we trust, say the wizards. It's a binding spell, and we're being tricked into casting it on ourselves. It's the greatest trick in history. I am borrowing a laptop, and I've been setting it up. I lost some momentum, but I'll be fine if I keep up with my routine. I went to the Stanford Library for a few days but didn't get much done. They have nice equipment there, but it was depressing being one of the old guys in a room full of kids. Then I went to the Mozilla headquarters for a day and ate a bunch of protein bars in the kitchen, and then hung out at a Google hackathon for a day and ate some Google pizza. Bad idea. It was mostly a waste of time, but it was a good reminder of how they spoil their employees and keep them trapped there. A room full of children giggling over internet memes. We are all capable of becoming godlike beings, like Jesus, or Buddha, or any of the prophets, but we're all distracted by these toys. Microsoft Windows is a sorcery, and we're all just house cats staring through it, wishing we could go outside. I know it's mind control, but it's also a tool. And I've still got to finish what I started. It would be great to have a van to work in, or to have my office back. It doesn't really matter. But it's really hard to focus in the library for more than a couple of hours. Time to move to a new area. I got lots of pages of additional writing I have to go through and edit into something tangible. Now that the story is relatively current, I'm just going to fill in more details and pictures for a while. I can make some videos and builds on this laptop and do a new Kickstarter. So that's what I'll be working on. Well, I got frustrated by various things and flipped my shit, and the stream from my heart just shut right off. I wasted weeks just trying to get back to where I was, to no avail. The power is just gone. I kept thinking that my mom had hacked into my heart with that font and caused me to get frustrated, in which she got control over me and got me to lie, because she was embarrassed by me telling the truth. I think her revenge scheme was a mistake and she couldn't help it. She had just been holding on to that and waiting for the right time. Then she started to lose power over me and panicked. Unfortunately, I was in a position I couldn't recover from, so the damage was more than she intended. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I just frustrated myself by getting angry about losing the money and I'm blaming my mom. It's my fault for letting myself get frustrated. It's a choice. Anyway, I have been trying to exercise and I keep getting frustrated and screaming. I flipped out on my parents, calling them crooks, because they acted out of desperation and it is corrupt. They are frustrating me to hide their own mistakes. I'm stuck. I need to forgive them. It will take some time. I can't proceed without honoring them and forgiving the wrong that I know is dishonorable. But it is so incredibly frustrating that I can't continue either. They are making me into Jesus, and I'm actually believing it. The day before I broke the netbook, I actually felt the world implode and I became a guy like Jesus again for a second. It is terrifying. I can feel the entire world screaming. I am just becoming convinced that this is my game and I made it for myself because I'm God. I keep opening this new laptop and just start muttering and then almost break it and get up and walk away. I can't do anything. It's obvious that we're in some kind of divine game. It doesn't matter if it is just how nature works or if it was created, if we're all God. Is there a difference? There is only one right path and we are surrounded by evil to thrust off money, desire, temptations, distractions. You can't see it until it has you, and then it's incredibly obvious. If you can follow the rules and push yourself through, you became God. Otherwise you just get frustrated until the only thing you can do is have a child and respawn. If I just cut my parents off and dismiss, then I will immediately panic and go get caught by some woman. I am probably going to die. Well, I'm definitely going to die. It's just a matter of when. We're just vessels for the Holy Spirit, or extensions of God, and the one who pushes the hardest breaks free and controls everyone else. There is a frustration limit though. Anyway, here's a dump of the rest of the stuff I wrote when I was at my absolute highest point. Since I can no longer completely comprehend it, since my heart is not open, I can't in good faith edit it. It is repetitive, so I must have finished. The only thing left was to become God and let my mom into my heart, and I failed, but I am sure that it's correct. It is from the heart and I still understand it and remember it coming out. It was real. Everyone was smiling at me and I had total control. I could do anything I wanted, which was actually pretty hard. I need to go running more. I need to stop blaming the people that have frustrated me. That's exactly what they want. It is my fault. Their kingdom of God is a real thing. It is human domestication. Tamed humans, people with total self-control, have immense psychic power. The power of telepathic mind control. This is what willpower is. You cannot detect it. You don't realize that they are in your subconscious. You are surrounded with temptations, distractions, and comforts, mind control devices to keep you blind, to keep you weak, to keep you untamed, wild, and powerless until it is too late, to make you into a criminal slave. Emotional walls are what hold people back, keeps them trapped in hell, keeps them from becoming a God. Temptation, the matrix, the womb, the inner world. There is another world. Keep the pigs in their pen, keep the slaves branded and blind. There is a kingdom if you make it in. You are magic otherwise. If you are insecure, you are enslaved. If you are a sinner, you will be left outside, like an animal, never able to realize your potential. The gnashing of teeth. Those people are like predators, monsters, who are desperate for money, who will say anything, use any political tactics they can, find any hole they can to tear you down, to drag them down into the pit. They will take everything away from you. It's because they are jealous. They are insecure, they are full of despair and fear. When faced with beauty and power, it makes him feel small, and they go neurotic and become obsessed with revenge, finding a way to take you down to size. God is jealousy. They are left helpless, too frustrated to regain the power, without the will to stand back up when confronted with pain. Their brains become like animals and they attack without consciousness. They have no coping method. They will resort to alcohol or drugs or lust, because your light, your righteousness, hacks into their minds and hearts without you doing a thing. They are just overcome with terror, the loss of themselves, and they must remove you. They must. Zombie movies. They are sly and dishonest. They will confront you and attack you with subtle insults. They will become absolutely possessed, obsessed with comparing themselves to you, finding any kind of flaw, and if they can't find one, they will create one. They will give you drugs. They will trick you. They will find a way to incriminate you. If they can't do this, they will kill you. That's what they did to Jesus, a man without any flaws, a man without sin. He controlled the entire world. He's got the whole world in his hands, and they felt so wretched, so awful compared to his beautify. They crucified him. Their brains resorted into trolls and criminals, proud of the sin, proud of their injustice and hatred, because the brain needs to justify itself. I realized their people around me were con artists, criminals, animals, who had been trying to manipulate me for my whole life. They had criminal minds. They looked at me and saw a mark, a victim, someone to trick and control to get what they wanted. I looked at him and saw a trusted friend, and wondered why they had said such a cruel thing, but they couldn't help it. They were all desperate. They needed me. And the only way they knew how to get what they wanted was to trick me. It was mind control. It wasn't a conspiracy, but the Matrix was there. I finally started to understand. I felt like Helen Keller having water poured over her hands. Humans formed psychic links. That's what emotional bonds were. We are connected by the heart and make each other trip through emotional links. I realized the world was much different than I had thought. That there was an inner world, where the blind were being enslaved and fooled by lust, greed, in temptations, fighting and squabbling over trinkets and objects of desire. And that there was an outer world, populated by the people who had overcome their desire and disciplined themselves. We are being tricked. The word government means control mind. There are what are essentially magic symbols on paper, talismans. We have been trained from birth to lust, desire, and covet, to break the rules by default, to chase after the paper, like the bank says, to voluntarily give up your magic power without ever realizing you had it, to simply live your lives as slaves, desiring nothing more than to work yourselves to death and respawn. The spirit of Satan is simply the spirit of temptation. It is desire. The rules outlined in the Old Testament to actually protection spells. Religion is mind magic. The Old Testament is an almanac. It has a bunch of history, a lot of traditional folklore about the makings of the universe, some songs, and a collection of king's wisdom. It is an ancient book of wisdom, or protection, talking about the matters of the heart, mind control, and the rules of the game of mind control works because we are all part of one being. Our subconscious is collective, our imaginations are connected. And that's where our thoughts come from. The stream of information from the heart. We are a giant dog pack. These tactics are used around you every day, to steal your identity, soul, and make you into a slave. If you desire anything, you can be enslaved. If you get addicted to anything, you will be enslaved. If you make it through, you become a wizard. You cannot detect it. You don't know it's happening when it's happening. Your thoughts just become more limited and you can't have the same thought patterns. They get more closed in and animalistic. Doing what you need to do to get what you to desire. You are being deceived by those who intend to profit from you. You are being kept insecure, repressed, afraid to accept the truth of reality. Those who intend to profit from you use character assassination, smear tactics, tabloids, peer pressure, anything to make you afraid to believe anyone telling the truth. Who is assassinated as a crazy person? It is the truth, to keep you as one of the herd, agreeing with your peers that the only important thing in life is a new pair of shoes. It is limiting your thoughts. In other words, putting a halo on your head. Life itself is a trip. Everything around us is a hallucination of sorts. We are animals, creatures made of energy, acting out a divine pattern on a stage. We have created a zoo for ourselves, or an amusement park, which is simply our nest. The human ant farm, where babble strange bibble-bobble incantations at each other and hypnotize each other in communication. We are always tripping one way or the other. Eat me, drink me. We are psychotic monkeys, God vessels, trying to keep our balance. We are just energy beings pushing away from gravity, trying to stand up the highest. We all to each other's brain states like turning a key. We are connected through the heart. We are like thin clients, where the signal comes from the heart, the collective subconscious, and gets processed by the brain. Emotion is telepathy, ethereal motion. We don't know how it works. We live inside of each other's hearts. There is a door inside the heart, and you can feel when it is open. It is impossible to describe. Even I can't understand it when it is closed. When it is open, divine knowledge pours forth. Your heart is connected to everyone else. If your heart is open, you can hear them. There is no way to explain it. You can hear the knowledge pouring in. You can feel the connection. You can feel the Holy Spirit. The world is a projection into your mind. Humans are psychic creatures. Psi points. The way to become free is to have no desire. Buddha and Jesus figured out the same thing. Freedom from temptation and sin makes you God. If you don't want anything, nobody can control you. If you don't sin, you are free from insecurity. You are pure. Nobody can hack into your heart. Your heart only shines from above. Hence the Jesus pictures. The picture of Jesus started to make sense, with the heart beams radiating from underneath and the energy radiating from his mind. I understood leaders and celebrities. They had trapped everyone inside their heart. I realized we are living inside the heart of a great sorcerer. There was a man who reset the timer. Year zero. Someone actually did that. It is possible for a human being to become a god. Buddha and Jesus both meditated for 40 days. Jesus avoided the spirit of temptation, or the spirit of Satan. Buddha gave up all desire. This is the same thing. Logos are projections from wizards. Now I understood why the words were glowing. The TV, the media, all the logos you are surrounded with, wearing uniforms, become part of the hive without knowing it. You can't even tell. It is incredibly subtle. You cannot understand. The truth is that the meaning of the logo, the fact that society has any meaning at all, it comes from within. It is being broadcast into your heart by a sorcerer, a magician with psychic powers that speaks through the pack. When you put on a shirt, you are joining a cult. You are submitting your will to a master. He is in your mind and can control you. You won't even know it's happening. You will just be compelled to do things for them, to help them, to give them what you have. This is divine knowledge. It comes from your connection to their pack. This is why you are trying to hide, to get away, because you can feel it and it is uncomfortable. Without the connection, nothing will make sense. You are either dying, slowly dying, or becoming God in this divine simulation. We are made in God's image. We are extensions of God. We are gods. Your heart pumping is casting a spell. It is broadcasting power. It is broadcasting your identity. We make each other trip. We pull each other into each other's minds, each other's worlds. An adult in a world of children. We break each other's hearts and put weight on each other's chests to limit the power, to steal their identities, to steal their souls. There is only one direction, death or God. Either die now, or die slowly, or live and become God, running or facing, fight or flight. Each conversation is a battle for control, a battle for will. Sumo, slip in digs, little negative stabs, stab them in the heart. Stay on top by shooting them in the heart. Their head gets bigger and bigger, big ego, then blow up their ego and they're your slave. Ziggurat, green eyes all around. Money makes all society corrupt. The police in Seattle said, "It's a beast, isn't it?" about Microsoft. There are true adults and there are adult children. The adult children are like withered bushes. There is something wrong with them. They will confront you and attack you, desperate to hack in, desperate to find a way, because they can't help it. They are insecure and you have hacked into their heart. The massive gaping insecurity, the hole in their mind. Jesus was a genius. Children stuff their face with everything. Stick their pigs. You only get one chance to be an adult. You've got to do it by the time you're 30. It is a matter of having full integrity. People are stopped by emotional walls. This is mind control, temptation. The spirit of Satan. Jesus was a guy who avoided all temptation and he became God. He reset their clock. Everyone else was so obsessed with hurting him because his perfection got in their minds. We are gods. We are like branches on the tree of God. We are vessels for the Holy Spirit. The more will you put in, the more godlike you become, the harder you push, the more spirit comes into you. We are immortal beings. We are like an hourglass. Your family is a single creature, a spirit dividing and combining, spilling through vessels over time. We are immortal beings. You know in your heart what you are meant to do. Those around you too afraid to follow their own heart will be overcome with jealousy and become obsessed with making you extinguish your light. They can be described as being possessed by demons, or rather, a running process that takes over the brain and tries to spread itself like a virus. They will attack you from all sides and try to break your will. They will offer you drugs to make you weak. They will offer you convenience and comfort to hold you down. The video game industry, and most other industries, are essentially criminal cults, indoctrinating children with mind control which makes the children stray from the families, develop no skills to have other choices, and become enslaved by the addiction and loss of will. Hypnotizes them and leads them right into the waiting hands of the cult. You are surrounded by hypnotic devices designed to steal your focus and entrance your mind. When this happens, you actually lose your inner monologue. You lose your ability to have deep thoughts. This inner monologue can be suppressed to the point of slavery. You can lose yourself and your identity. Each and every one of you is someone important. Unfortunately, anyone who rises up is cut down by those around them. It is much easier to remain a slave than to try to free yourself. And people don't like being reminded of that. Society is in an unbelievably sad state. Everyone is being tricked into giving up their magic power and instead squabble and attack each other. Jealous and fighting for little pieces of imaginary paper with a symbol for supreme mind control on them. We are all great wizards, reduced to being zombies and slaves. I wish I was joking. I wish I was crazy. I wish I was wrong. I'm not. I wake up in my car, reality flickering under my eyeballs. I'm tripping, and I'm becoming a wizard. I can feel them inside my heart. They love me. And it's too embarrassing. They want to give me everything. The world will be mine. I'll be a wizard. They'll give me all the success in the world. And I'm too insecure to take it. Life is too embarrassing. I get frustrated. I'm swinging at him and missing. I throw a tantrum, desperate to stop him from clawing. It's my mom, I think, trying to get in. It tickles. It's like there's an excited puppy in my heart. I'm trying not to laugh. It's fucking serious. Don't you see? I won't forgive you. Get the fuck out. I'm trying to take myself seriously. I need control. I need power. I can't do it. I give up, and start screaming. I am literally screaming in my car, out loud, as people walk past. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my house. I would rather be dead. I don't fucking like you. You don't fucking deserve it. You bitch. You don't deserve to live in me. I don't trust you. Hate. I would rather be dead than became God. It's too embarrassing. It is too embarrassing to love my mother. I'd rather wither away as an individual. Connected to nobody, all alone in a room, ignoring the knock at the door. It's not true. Of course, it's the same old tantrum as I threw with the catechism. I'm just not strong enough for life. I just give up. I know time is running out, and I'll be locked out of the kingdom. Sometimes I'm there, my heart is open, and the dogs stab me in the heart until I close it. I realize they are doing the same thing as me. They are too embarrassed to live. My heart is hacking into theirs, and they will bark and growl and say anything they can to hurt me, to make me go away. I don't like you, you're a loser, but I'm so powerful, so hard-working, that I'm not. I can overpower them no matter what. My heart is too strong and they will all be assimilated. That's what makes me a prophet. In theory, I am like Jesus. I am so close. But it's just too embarrassing. I think about the nitrogen tank in my trunk. I pop the trunk. I want them to come back, and I wish I hadn't screamed at them. I know I hurt him. It was my mom, so excited, trying to get in because she loves me, and I screamed in her face until she went away. Hurting myself, casting myself out. I'm sorry. I wish I was strong enough. It's too hard. Too frustrating. I just want to die alone. Of course, I don't. That might end up being the case. I don't know if it's up to me or not. Am I strong enough? It's my fault. I'm too insecure. I don't like my parents enough. I can't do it. I turned my back on my parents and closed their door. Now it's too embarrassing to turn around again. I have locked myself out. I know it's there, a world of magic and wonder. I have locked myself out. There will be much wailing and gnashing of teeth. I am frustrated. I hate this computer. I want to break it. I want to throw a tantrum. I get all the way back home and it's too embarrassing. I will need to start over. I will need to die. I am scared. I need to go running. I broke the computer. Well, I forgot I wrote that. Time to start over. I wonder if I'll become Jesus for Easter. I really need to add more pictures to this. I've got a lot more details to edit in. I wonder if I'll ever do it. Maybe I could just leave it like this. It doesn't really matter. Here's the juicy stuff. I had sex with some transgendered ladies when I first came to the Bay Area. It was a little bit strange but fun, though I feel guilty about it now since I couldn't offer a relationship. Then my parents gave me a comic I drew when I was really young about a cool guy wearing a dress, riding a skateboard. I'm pretty sure I know what I meant by it. Someone who doesn't care what anyone else thinks is cool. They can do anything. I put on a dress in the basement when I was really young, and then my parents removed it. So they must have known that I wasn't fitting into the traditional male gender role. I almost molested my friend when I was in elementary school. After getting molested by a different friend after watching porno on long-distance AOL, he told his parents and I never talked to him again. It's a shame. He had Super Metroid at his house. I tried to get my friend's dog to lick peanut butter off my dick once in junior high, and then got scared it would bite it, so I backed out, like the temple-ass guy. He's awesome and he truly does have divine intellect. I stole a digital camera, one of their first ones, from, I think, Montgomery Ward's by just ripping it off the display and walking out when I was 15-ish. I got caught shoplifting awful hentai videos, Larbly Girl, from FYE in the mall when I was 14 or 15. FYE is demonic and totally deserves it. I remembered that I cheated on one paper in high school. An essay for English class 1 really didn't want to write. I just found one online and turned it in. I wish I hadn't done that. I tried to cheat again one other time during a test, but I got caught before I actually had passed any information. I had the unfortunate compulsion to shove things up my bum at times, and I tried to get boned by a couple of guys before. I was always terrified and stopped right away, and when I did succeed it hurt and I hated it. But I did it again anyway. Maybe my mom made me do it with a t-shirt. Or maybe it was self-inflicted revenge for having anal sex with 2 of my girlfriends. It must have hurt and it makes me wish I was dead. I listened to a bunch of erotic hypnosis stuff, which was maybe the most horrible idea ever. It is definitely a demon and I think it caused a lot of the above. It seems really harmless because it is just audio, but I think it caused the most damage and it was really hard to stop. It also got me to try and spread it to other people. It was spread to me by someone. If I have nothing to hide, nobody can hold anything over me. I'll have to add some more when I remember it. My dad seems to think I'm gay, maybe from the DDR. Or maybe from the Cool Guy comic. I'm pretty sure I'm not. It sure would make things easier. I think I just resent women for childbirth. I definitely don't want to start a family. I really don't want to get married. Then I'm just going to respawn. You can't stop life, my mom said. I sure don't want to have a kid and pay for the kid and watch the kid go through the same torture that I went through. That is not winning the game. It's just hitting reset and passing the controller. I sure don't want to be stuck with anyone at all. I just want to win the game. I want to change the world. I want to run an awesome company and do a bunch of awesome stuff. I want to kick off the post-scarcity society and 3D print houses and solve homelessness and turn education into a giant video game tournament. Unless I just become God and the whole thing just turns off, that would be a lot easier. Do I even want money? It would be fun enough to live in a van and finish this stupid video game. Do I even care? Does it matter? I'm pretty okay with just jumping off a bridge. I wish I had my nitrogen tank back. I'm done enough with life to not care. I'm just scared that I'll be reincarnated as a dung beetle and have to do it all again anyway. I wonder if this whole thing is just trying to get away from my mom. To get revenge for her taking away my toys. I guess this whole thing started when I was 4. She put them in a bag and hung them in the closet where I couldn't reach them. Screw you, bitch. I'm a millionaire. I can buy my own toys. Life sure is embarrassing. I think that's the problem more than anything else. Fear is the mind killer. Well, I'm scared. I am just blaming it on my mom because it's so scary and embarrassing to be a god. Imagine how scary it must be to get on a stage in front of thousands of people. You know what the difference is between the guy on stage and the audience. He has the balls to get on the stage. I guess I'm okay. My parents are really awesome. I wanted to talk a lot more about my dad. He is a pretty amazing guy. He has obsessively rebuilt every room in the house for as long as I can remember. I wrote my Kickstarter page. I just need to make a video. I need to somehow make builds of all my demos so I can video capture them. But I don't have the patience to do it. That's why I'm so frustrated. I need to be alone in a room brooding so I can concentrate properly. Maybe I don't. I can probably just do it here. I just don't want to. I'll get it right, hopefully soon. I'm going to go back to the gym and go running more. I've really got to add a pictures and downloads section to this stupid web page. I hate web development. There is nothing fun about it. I got my heart open again. Everything in my life that has gone wrong has been because of porn. I think it twisted my mind into thinking I was playing a game where it was me versus my mom, where my self-respect became hinged on my ability to escape from my parents. It got in my brain and made me try to escape the emotional bond, leading me into disaster and causing a great deal of pain to others. I hurt my parents for a long time and lost a decade of my life and countless experiences. I hurt a lot of people, and did irreversible damage. I abused my first girlfriend and caused her emotional damage. Her father drank himself to death because of what I did. I can't undo that, even if I didn't know the damage it would cause. Even if we were just copying what they did on the TV, I ruined my life. I was tricked. I was infected by a demon, which had infected others and spread to me. In fact, this seems to be more or less the norm. I kept gambling, betting more and more of myself to recoup the loss. It will be worth it when I save the world. There is nothing left to bet. There is no win that can make up for what I've lost. This game was all entirely subconscious. I didn't know I was doing anything unusual. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. I always thought I was innocent. This was just my punishment. The truth is, I did create a huge and awesome video game. I guess I had a story to tell. Maybe I was used as a messenger, here to warn a new generation in a time when almost everyone will be exposed to a digital plague of endless filth. We live in a corrupt world where we are attacked from all directions by mind control trying to trick us, addict us, and consume us, sucking out our magic power and leaving us as slaves. This is the truth. All the information out there is bullshit and lies, the blind leading the blind into the pit. We're tricked into shutting off our heart and given endless justification to abuse each other. It shovels so much dirt over our hearts we can't open them again. It is truly a plague, perhaps greater than any other in history. We are in a dystopian nightmare and nobody can see it. Everyone is too distracted, too insecure, too greedy, too blinded by lust and desire to realize how profound it really is. It's bad. I don't have infinite time left with my parents, unless I can actually freeze time or break out of the simulation. I sure hope I can, and it is the most important thing there is. I have wasted years being tortured by insecurity and the compulsion to get rich and download porn torrents instead. Totally blinded and completely unable to see or escape the horror of the situation. Sigh. I don't know where the message came from. It wasn't my mom doing it on purpose. I just resented that she was right. It is what humans are, and we can't beat our emotional walls. Our minds are one giant connected puzzle. I was fighting against God, fighting against our own nature as beings. Being controlled by the spirit of desire. The devil darn got in me. The truth is that I don't deserve to be successful with this game, not the way I wanted. Well, Ezekiel had to lie on his side for 400 days. He was called the Son of Man, too. I apparently had to sit in a green room for a few years. I am probably not as major of a prophet as Jesus, if he was really as good as he was. I sure did screw up a whole lot. Maybe it doesn't matter though. Or maybe his purity was exaggerated over time. Maybe I can make up for it. I kind of think this whole thing is just a test and we're living in a hallucination inside the heart of Jesus right now. He is just the wizard of the Matrix. I can feel the magic again. It's incredible and hard to explain. I keep waking up with this dripping sensation, with sparkling prismatic energy in my brain, everything sort of shimmering. I completely understand the pictures of all the prophets, with the energy radiating from their heads. No, it isn't flashbacks. My parents are really awesome. I want to go back to Michigan and spend time with them. I need to launch this Kickstarter so I have enough money to get back. Maybe I will start a big technology company with my friends back there. I bet I could really change the world. If I can't figure out how to just beat it and end the simulation or something first. Maybe this is beating it. Maybe my parents are God and they made this whole thing for me. That seems close to the truth. Everyone in the world is my friend. I took a short break and spent the last 3 days laying on my couch. I ripped out my passenger seat and put in a wood platform a month ago, in the rain, watching Big Bang Theory episodes on my Windows phone. I keep one of the back windows open and my cat sits on top of the convertible roof all day. Several times a day someone will walk up speaking in a kitty voice, sighing, "Aren't you the cutest little thing sitting on that car?" and take a picture of her. My cat is becoming famous in Mountain View. I won't be able to take a break anymore after this. I know that I will look back on this as having one of the best times of my life. I just haven't noticed because I've been too busy screaming in frustration. I got EBT, food stamps, back a couple weeks ago, immediately spending it on protein powder at Target. There is a brand there that works using EBT, it says, nutrition facts, on the back instead of supplement facts. And I think it's probably one of the most efficient uses of the money. Also, I wanted protein powder. I went 2 months without any assistance at all. Just eating free samples at Whole Foods and Sprouts and eating from the fruit box at Safeway when it was out. All you can eat overripe bananas. I spent the last few days running. My dad sent me a long email which pushed my buttons. Because I had flipped out on him. I know he meant well and he didn't do it on purpose. I had frustrated him. It stabbed itself in my brain just the same. And I started screaming in the shower until the 24-hour fitness managers came and knocked on their stall door, asking if I was okay, all day, screaming, hitting things, shaking, furious, trying not to run people over, trying not to snap, completely frozen with frustration. My dad is going to die if I can't overcome it. If I rage back at him, it will break his heart and he will wither and die. I'm terrified. I don't want that to happen. I just have to fight forward, broken, enslaved by those frustrating words. I really shouldn't have watched Big Bang Theory. It begins and ends with a bell ding. Pavlovian mind control. I kept trying to skip the intro at just the right point so I wouldn't hear the ding. I can't put my parents above me anymore. I can't let their words get to me. I just have to get stronger. I can't let my mom knock me down with 2 words or a gesture. That's my fault. It's my weakness. I'm the one letting her do it because it's easier to have someone to blame for my failure. She's only too happy to give me that excuse. I just have to believe in myself. The choice is mine. If I believe in myself, I am God and the simulation ends. If I don't, I will start over and pass the burden on to my child. This world isn't real. I believe in myself. I am. Truly I tell you, he continued, no prophet is accepted in his hometown. I can't go back. Not yet. This feud has been going on for a long time. It's because of porn and a lack of integrity brought on by that. It really is the ultimate life destroyer, because I had gotten hooked on porn. I got swept up by lust in high school. Then I got hooked and since I needed to have sex with my girlfriend. I argued with my dad trying to get out of the house, and he obviously knew what I was up to. I couldn't control my urges so I raged against him. Because of course I couldn't help what my body wants. And media certainly gave me all the justification I needed, and so I moved out, nailing it on him. It was his fault for trying to tell me it was wrong, etc., and so on and so forth. He tried to help me. But when it came down to it he couldn't emotionally handle it because I had crushed him. And when pressed into the corner, each time he would lash out at me. I had made myself impossible without knowing it, so if I can't get a handle on myself and keep control, I'm going to fly off on an endless emotional trip trying to break that bond until I reattach it to a woman and then I have to restart. My dad was just trying to warn me in the first place. I really love my dad. He's the coolest guy, the first no. Simply for having the Herculean mental strength to put up with me this whole time without seriously flipping out. He also trained me to build an engine and tile the house, tasks I seem to have mastered in my own way. I've got to keep running. I can do it, with nowhere else for the mind to go. Trapped in a spiral closing in on itself, the only way to go is up. Our thoughts become psychotic, and the mundane becomes magical, only, since reality is made in our heads and we're God, the magic actually works. This is the nature of the machine that we are in. Welcome to God's game. How insane that we are. Born into slavery. Waste our entire lives by default, and die without ever realizing it. Even the slavery itself is arbitrary and based on nonsense legacy reasons. Can't we just close most things down every other week? If not, why aren't all stores open 24 hours? It's totally arbitrary and it is ruining everyone's lives by default. Capitalism is just mass torture for basically no reason. It would be great if there was some alternatives. I don't really want to just live in the woods in a cabin and do nothing but fish and forage. But there should be some other way to opt out. I feel like as a person who sits in a room on a computer all the time, I don't use society the same way as everyone else. Why do I have to pay the same price of a lifetime of slavery? Can't I just give up public transportation and road privileges in exchange for free housing and electricity? Well, I have to work with what I've got. I really wouldn't mind living in a van and programming. I don't see what's wrong with it. My dad seems to think that I should have a fancy office to work in. But then when I go and try to make money, everyone around me gets jealous and compulsively sabotages whatever it is I'm doing, including him. It's just not worth the trouble, and if I succeed, it's just going to hurt everyone's feelings. I don't want to control other people. I just don't care. I am totally okay with just making this whole thing open source and working on it for free for the rest of my life. Otherwise I have to stand up to the onslaught of jealous people trying to stab me in the heart. And it's just not worth it. I bet Iwata was a lot happier when he was working on Mother than he is as CEO. Someone less deserving can have it. They want it more anyway. I ran into my friend Ash yesterday, who told me something his brother had told him. I know you can live without. Show me you can live with. I've been thinking about going to a Buddhist monastery. There is a place around here that offers a several-day meditation outing. The Bible is a metaphor for the world inside the heart. I took the war in my heart to a stalemate. I told my parents that they could have it all. I would give up on any kind of success, and I would continue my work for no reward. That I would kill myself if I couldn't, and I believed it. They could not manipulate me anymore. My heart had no desire left in it. The Son of Man was crucified for the sins of man and became God. I could no longer live in my Father's kingdom. It was time for him to live in mine. I have become God, and suddenly it all makes sense. I had created my own world. The only way to get what was rightly mine. I am going back to Michigan. It's time to change the world. I moved to San Mateo, where I somehow thought I would end up. It is April 4th. I lost a month, somehow, and then woke back up. It's like having your head underwater and not realizing it, and suddenly breaking the surface, only to get shoved back down. It's nearly undetectable to tell when you're enslaved. You only know when you aren't. It's like there is a pressure on your heart, or a weight holding you down, preventing you from having the motivation to think for yourself or do what you need to do. Trying to find the root of my problem this past month, my willpower got frustrated. I ran into some cynical people who said some frustrating things, and I argued with my parents when faced with someone trying hard. Insecure people do anything they can to undermine them, because otherwise it forces them to live up to the person threatening them. Sometimes by the time I realize it, the damage is already done and it's too late. They aren't your friends. I'm going to stay here a while longer. I just don't feel like I'm finished yet. I will go back to Michigan after I launch my Kickstarter. Time to go running. The 24-hour fitness here is really nice. It was my fault for getting frustrated, not the fault of the person trying to frustrate. That is the most important lesson. My dad is right. I should probably go back to school. I have really wanted to for a long time. Underneath it all, I just want to get this game out first. I want to be somebody. I am an artist, that's what I chose, but why should going to school matter? Will compromising on that really change anything? To be honest, I would probably enjoy working at NASA. I doubt I will make it that far. I'd like to learn some new things though. It doesn't mean I have to give up on my art. I have thought about using Khan Academy but have never had time. And I've been touting MIT OpenCourseware since 2002, but I have never actually used it. I've only learned what I needed. I just don't have enough time to do all the things I'd like to do. I want to fix education, not just use the existing system, but I have never tried it. So how am I so sure it's broken? It sure looks like it could be a lot more accessible from the outside. First of all, it's pretty hard to get in. And it costs money. An idea I had when I was 19 was for a university where people were just given small apartments to live in and all the online courses they could handle and nothing else. Teach Yourself University. I love doing it myself, but I clearly missed out on a lot. Also, it's a huge problem that learning offers no freedom. It just offers a piece of paper. And then you go work for someone else. It just doesn't fit into capitalism. I chose the only path that offered freedom, even though it means I would end up working for myself forever. At least I could make my own ideas happen. I have a whole trunk full of them. Work on my game. Go running, lift weights, take classes, run a corporation and change the world. That's a pretty full schedule.